Hello and welcome to Heritage University. Tonight we will be talking with Michael Redd of Magnum Association Services on how we can help you with your delinquencies and your collection policy. We are so grateful that you have joined us today. And if this is your first experience with Heritage University, welcome. My name is Melissa Rogers and I'm the Vice President of Business Development here for Heritage Property Management, and we help oversee the Heritage University for our company, and we are again so grateful that you've joined us. Couple of quick housekeeping rules. We are going to be hosting this conversation, if you will, and then taking the questions and answers after the presentation. No worries, you are still welcome to go ahead and leave your questions as Michael is going through the presentation, and we will address them at the end. That way, everybody has the opportunity to hear the same content and we can address them together. For those of you, again, that are joining us for the first time, you can find our previous classes listed at heritageproperty.com, and we also have a great YouTube channel that shows all of our great and excellent content from prior classes. So at this time, we certainly appreciate you joining us. And now I introduce you to Michael Redd.
Good evening, everybody. Hope you guys are doing well. My name is Michael Redd. I work for Magnum Association Services. Magnum is a collection agency that reports to all three credit bureaus. Tonight, what I'm going to be talking about is the program that Heritage has. Josh, can you put up the first slide? So it's called the ACT program, the Assessment Collection Transfer Program. That's a partnership between Heritage and Magnum Association Services. Magnum is the collection agency, but ACT is the program or it's the program that Heritage offers for their clients to use a collection agency to collect the debt prior to it going to attorneys. If you're not part of the Heritage program, or if you're not part of Heritage, we do have Magnum. It's the same process, but you would have to just sign up with Magnum Association Services. Lydia Crouch is the Heritage employee that if you're in the ACT program, what the ACT program does is there's a department at Heritage that runs an analysis on your association every month, and that analysis is sent to the property manager to send that over to the association to have the to see which files fall into the ACT program and which go to Magnum. Sorry. Josh, next slide. Sorry, I'm going to show you a video that we prepared, and after the video, we'll go to the next slide.
The maintenance and operation of every HOA or condominium community is funded by assessments. Regardless of occupancy, the owner is responsible for payment. Dues, special assessments, and in some cases, specific assessments and even utility reimbursement is set forth in the association's governing documents. Unfortunately, some owners fail to make timely payments. When the association collects less than expected,
I'm sorry about that, guys.
Or ACT. Capital improvements suffer, eventually resulting in budget concerns and decreasing home values. Assessments need to be collected, and management companies have limited power. That is why we have designed an industry-leading solution called the Heritage Assessment Collection Transfer Program, or ACT. It begins with designating a detailed and approved collection policy. A dedicated team processes payments and generates late letters where applicable. If files remain delinquent, the association can now act on them, even when the amounts are small, because Heritage has partnered with a collection agency, Magnum Association Services. Unlike a management company, Magnum has the ability to report to all three credit bureaus. Over 85% of the files are made current during this step. For the few that remain, files can then be transferred to the attorney of the board's choice. This program empowers the board to create an automated system that ensures all files are moving forward and all homeowners are treated equally. The Heritage ACT program is a critical element in handling accounts receivable and minimizing delinquencies, allowing your community to thrive. Contact us today to find out more.
Okay, next. So as I stated earlier, so if you're part of the ACT program, there's a team at Heritage that runs the analysis based off of a collection policy. That collection policy is drafted up by Heritage at no cost to the association. And it's based off of your covenants. So if you guys have an association that has monthly assessments, you could use the collection policy as every, if the homeowner is 2 months behind, then you want to send them over to Magnum. If you're annual, again, it is the decision of the board. These collection policies are written up based off your covenants, but they're not written in stone. So if the board has other ideas of when the file can go to Magnum, then you can make that change. It's just as long as it doesn't interfere with your covenants. Also, that collection policy will also put a dollar amount and or a date of when you want to send the files to the attorney. Now, the analysis will be done on a monthly basis and will be put on Vanica for you all to see. I believe so. I believe that goes on to Vanica, and I'll have to verify that. So once that is, sent over to the property manager, Magnum will move the files to Magnum within 5 days, unless the board says, no, I've got this person on a payment plan, or we don't want to go after this person right now. But the board does have 5 days to say we don't want to do that. But we're trying to keep Heritage, as well as Magnum, is trying to keep everybody the flow moving forward for everybody at the same rate. But again, you may have somebody that is on a payment plan that you may not want to go over to Magnum. So the first step is I want to basically explain to you guys, there is no cost to the association at all. Now, all the money does go to the association. It does not go to Magnum. So when a homeowner makes a payment, that money does go into your bank account. Magnum will invoice you, but you have to keep in mind that when that homeowner makes a payment, 25% of that payment is going to come to Magnum, but that 25% is going to be added on to the homeowner's ledger. So the homeowner is actually responsible for all the money that Magnum collects, because it is the responsibility per your covenants for for the homeowner to pay those Magnum costs of collections. So again, there is no upfront fee, there's no risk, there's no cost to the association at any time. If Magnum does not collect anything, then you do not get billed by Magnum. The only time that you will receive an invoice from Magnum is when a homeowner makes a payment. Next, please. So in most cases, and we can report to all 3 credit bureaus, that usually gets homeowners, if they're worried about their credit, that will get homeowners to make payments and or get onto a payment plan. Now, I will say before it goes to Magnum, late letters are being sent out from Heritage that explains all of this to the homeowners prior to it coming to Magnum. Also, the collection policy, as I stated earlier, when that's drafted, that is also sent to all the homeowners once the board signs the resolution, because this is a board resolution on how they're going to do collections. So they're going to be notified by the collection agency that they're going to, the collection policy, they're going to be notified that they're going to be going to a collection agency and it will affect their credit. The late letters also explain the same thing. So it's not like they're never being told that they're going to be, their credit's going to be, hit. They are being told. Next. Okay, so how it works is the collection policy is sent out. Heritage will then send out the first late letter. That first late letter will be a 30-day late letter. If that homeowner does not respond within that 30 days, the next letter goes out will be a 15-day late letter. If they do not respond in 15 days, the analysis will be done and the spreadsheet will be sent over to the property manager, which will send it to the board to get to let them know which files will be moving over to Magnum and which files will possibly be moving over to the attorney. Excuse me. Once Magnum has the file, Magnum will have that file for 100 days. So after the 100 days, the debt's reported to all 3 credit bureaus. But between that 1 day and 100 days, 5 letters are being sent out. The first letter will give the homeowner 30 days to respond or dispute the debt. No phone calls will be made during that first 30 days. After the 30 days, the 31st day, that's when the phone calls begin. And these are not harsh phone calls. These are, hey, this is your association. They're saying that you owe this balance. Are you able to make the payment? If they're not able to pay the full balance off, then they are directed to offer a payment plan that will be sent over to the boards for approval. Magnum does not approve payment plans. We don't approve any waivers of late fees interest. That is the discretion of the board. After Magnum is done for the 100 days, then it will go, like I said, the analysis will be done saying that Magnum has reported all 3 credit bureaus. Then the association will have that, per the collection policy, will have the right to move it over to the attorney and begin a lawsuit, lien filing, and a garnishment. So that's in phase 3. Now, keep in mind, there's a 4-year statute of limitations. So for every year you don't move it over to the attorney, you're going to lose a year. So if your annual, the attorneys are only able to go after 4 years. Magnum is only able to go after 4 years. All third-party collectors can only go after 4 years. So we want to keep that in mind. That's why the collection policy is very important, because the team at Heritage will let you know when a file needs to be moved so you don't lose any fees. Next. Okay, so does the association receive all the money that's owed? Absolutely. If Magnum is able to collect it from the homeowner and we speak to the homeowner, we are informing them of the $96 initial setup fee and the 25% cost of collections fee. Now that 25% is off of the original amount that's sent over. So if $1,000 is sent over to Magnum, you're going to get the whole $1,000. Magnum will charge $250. So the homeowner is ending up paying $1,250. They're going to be responsible for all the money that Magnum collects. Next. Okay. Frequently asked questions. What is the ACT program? I kind of went over that already. That is the assessment collection transfer program. The management company is limited to how many, limited in terms of what they can do. They are not able to report to credit bureaus. They do not make phone calls to homeowners. They are your management company that maintains your property. They do not do collections. How does the Heritage program work? This new system represents a change in terms of all our corporate collection policies. Eventually, virtually all of our communities will function in the same manner. So as we were saying, I said earlier, what you want to do is you want to treat everybody the same. You don't want to single somebody out. You don't want to just go after one person. You have to treat everybody the same. Next. So who can participate in the ACT program? Everybody that's with Heritage, okay? If you're not with Heritage, you can certainly be part of Magnum, which we offer the same deal that we offer people at Heritage. Again, there's no risk to you, there's no risk to the association, there's no cost to the association. You will get invoices from us, but that's only when a homeowner pays. So again, as I state, if that homeowner pays $100, the whole $100 is going to go into your bank account. 25 of that is going to be paid to us. So you got 75, we get 25, but that $25 fee is going to be added to the homeowner's ledger. Next. At what point will the file transfer to Magnum and what are the homeowner fees? So at what point, that is determined by the boards, at what point you want to send them over. There are some boards that don't want to send them over until the balance reaches $400. There are some boards that don't want to send it over until they're 4 months behind. Again, that is the discretion of the association. The collection policy that is sent out, it explains to the homeowners when their dues are due, when their dues are late, and how much they are. If they're monthly, that will be also stated. If the association is a POA or condo, part of that collection policy will inform the homeowner that the association will have the right, if it's moved over to an attorney, to file a lawsuit that will include foreclosure language. But again, at what point does the file turn over to Magnum? That is the decision of the board, and that would be based on your collection policy. Next. What happens to a file if Magnum does not collect? The debt is reported to the credit bureaus. If you move that, and that file will stay with Magnum until you move it over to the attorney's office. Now, I want you all to be aware that they will not receive any more late letters from Heritage. Once a file is moved to the collection agency or the attorney, they don't receive any more late letters from Heritage. So the Magnum will stay with, the file will stay with Magnum until after the 100 days, until you move it over to the attorney's office. Now, if you move it over to the attorney's office, there is a fee of $100, but again, not paid by the association until it is collected by the attorney. It's a one-time $100 monitoring fee, because Magnum is the only entity that can report any payments to the credit bureaus once the debt's reported. How are hardship claims handled? That again is up to the association. You guys can decide that you want to remove late fees and interest. As I said, everything, when we talk to homeowners, everything is put in writing. So the homeowners have to send an email to Magnum, which would be then forwarded over to you guys. It is the board's decision whether they want to remove late fees and interest. That is totally the board's discretion. Next. Why is the collection policy still needed? The collection policy is a benefit to the property managers as well as the association, so you all do not have to worry about the homeowners' ledgers and how much they owe. There's a team, as I said, at Heritage that will manage that for you. And each month, usually before the 15th of the month, that analysis is sent to the property manager to have you all look at it to see which homeowners are ready to go to where they need to go. So this takes it out of your hands as well as the property manager's hands. You are all volunteers as board members. So you really want somebody as a management company to take that role for you guys. But again, files will not be moved unless authorized by you to go to the attorney. Now, with Magnum, it's going to be based off the collection policy. So if Magnum says on day 75, you want it moved over to Magnum, again, we're going to give you a 5-day grace period just in case the board got somebody on a payment plan that we're not aware of. We just don't want to go after somebody that you got on a payment plan. So that's why the analysis is sent to you with regards to the Magnum. Will our homeowners be informed of the change in the policy? Yes, as I said, the resolution will be signed and then that will be sent to every single homeowner in your association. Next. What is needed from the board of directors? Sign the collection policy. That is it. There is a, when you ask for a collection policy, and all you have to do is ask your property manager and or send an email, and we'll provide that email address to you at the end of this. Just send an email and saying, hey, I would like to have a collection policy done. That collection policy will be sent with a Magnum contract, and it will basically have some information on how Magnum works. Can a delinquent homeowner set up a payment plan through Heritage? They can, prior to it coming to Magnum. I believe they charge a flat fee of $10, which is again put on the homeowner's account and again not charged to the association. That $10 will be placed on the ledger, and then when that homeowner makes that first payment, that $10 will be then invoiced from Heritage to the association, but the homeowner is paid for that. Next. The Heritage system provides transparency to the board of directors. File progression indicates offer clarity as accounts are moved from Heritage to Magnum and, if necessary, to an attorney. How is the board alerted to the status of the account? So Magnum, again, the analysis is done by Heritage. Magnum also runs reports, and that is also on Vanica on a monthly basis to show where they are. There are stages. There's 5 stages. First letter, second letter, third letter, fourth letter, fifth letter, debt reported to the credit bureaus, all within the 100 days. Next. What effect will reporting this debt to the credit bureaus have on the delinquent homeowner score? It actually has a big effect. I've seen the credit report, I've been told by homeowners that they've dropped 50 points. Now, you probably all know that when somebody's credit is hit or dinged by 50 points, in an instant, it takes a little bit longer for that 50 points to go back up once the debt is paid. The debt will, the credit will stay probably the same until they bring their account current with the association. Next. Okay, so as I said, here's the information with regards to the Heritage. So Livia Kraut, she's the legal coordinator manager. Her phone number is 770-200-8261, and you can reach the collections department at Heritage at collections@heritageproperty.com. Magnum's information, Michael Redd, 678-310-3832, info@magnumsbc.com. Next, and I think that might be it. And I'm sorry, guys, I was a little bit nervous. This is my first time doing this, so I was a little off. So I apologize for that. And I hope y'all understood, but I am available. Keep in mind, too, that I am available to meet with any boards that would like, at no cost again to the boards, to discuss this on one-on-one. Melissa.
Awesome job, Michael, and thank you so much for talking about this. I think this is probably one of the most confusing topics for us as agents of the association that partner with the board of directors to explain. One of the things that I want to, Michael has kind of talked about this a lot throughout his presentation. It is a no cost to the association experience, but remember this, Heritage Property Management is not in contract with the delinquent homeowner specifically. Heritage Property Management is in contract with the board of directors, aka the association. So as Michael is talking about, the receipt, the coupon, the balance, if you will, that shows up for the association from the Heritage perspective is exactly what Michael says. That fee is only being passed through Heritage because that homeowner has made that payment or has made the first contingency fee amount, and therefore that gets applied to it. So I just wanted to kind of make that additional statement because I'm hopeful that the board of directors and the audience viewing this will have a little bit better of an understanding as to why it is Michael is really saying that the association only gets involved when the homeowner makes the payment. So Michael, we do actually have, it's a statement, but I'm going to pose it into a question because this is probably sums up the complete frustration of every board of director that is working in a common law HOA. And so for those of you in the audience, I hope you know that there is a common law homeowners association, a condo association, and a property owners association. And the last two associations are actually bound by state statute, and the common law homeowners association is not. And the statement that was made is, hey, I'm aware that I think the homeowners know now that the 4-year statute of limitations in an HOA is, as long as they wait it out, we can't do anything to them. And this program right here is exactly what you should introduce to change that opinion. So Michael, could you speak to a little bit about what you've seen in common law HOAs that don't necessarily have the lien teeth or the automatic, or the financial judgment capability sometimes? Can you kind of talk to them about how you are kind of like that third party gap? Because I know your recovery rate is really, really high too for associations that participate in this program. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, so again, you are right. People are aware of that 4-year statute of limitations, so they're going to wait you out. And that's why I said the collection policy is really a very good tool because it's going to treat everybody the same. And once you're in the ACT program, you don't have to worry about the 4-year statute any longer. That's the biggest point of the collection policy, because it's going to make sure that you're not writing debt off. I can't tell you how many files that Magnum has gotten that there has to be an SOL done prior to Magnum collecting this debt, because the association was just waiting because they didn't want to spend the money with an attorney to collect the debt. Now, again, I also work for an attorney's office, and I'm not trying to take money away from the attorney. I'm just saying Magnum at no cost to you guys, as Melissa was saying, there is no cost at all to the association to collect this debt, to put it in Magnum for you guys to collect the debt. If Magnum is unsuccessful, again, no cost to you until the attorney. So when the attorney, so that 96, as I said, will go onto the ledger, the $100 will go onto the ledger. But when that attorney gets a payment in from the homeowner from their efforts, the only thing I'm going to be collecting, sending an invoice for is the 96 and the 100, which is what the attorney collected for you. So again, the 4-year statute is a big issue, as even with the law firm, I can't tell you, I had one the other day, they had to write off $8,000. $8,000 because it was a monthly assessment and the previous board wasn't doing their due diligence to collect the debt. Because again, there's a large cost when you use attorneys, unfortunately. But Magnum is the benefit. I mean, Magnum is the reason why you want to use Magnum is the benefit of it's no cost to you guys. Sorry. Yeah.
No, I think I couldn't agree more. And from the property management aspect, this is really so phenomenal because this collection policy is a board resolution that comes directly from the declaration. It is a service that is completely created for the board of directors, fine-tuned to your declaration specifically. And then in the areas where there's the ability for the board to use that discretion, it is summarized for your entire ownership to see. And so your ownership now has true clarity as to what their responsibility is financially, and then what are unfortunately some of the ramifications that can happen. And let's face it, it doesn't matter what type of association that you're in. The goal of this program is, and I've seen this play out so nicely with associations that have high delinquency. The goal of this program, especially when your assessments are low, because maybe you're a smaller community, is to hopefully cap this off before that homeowner gets to that point where they possibly, that balance gets so high that, the board can't collect it, but now the homeowner can't even try to make a payment if they wanted to. So clearly this collection policy is meant to absolutely follow your declaration, give that board some discretion so that it allows the homeowners to know, hey, for 100 days, we're going to give you a whole extra opportunity, but the penalty is going to be pretty significant. And if you don't think so, and you think you're just going to wait out that 4-year statute of limitations, like the person in the audience commented, this is exactly what is going to hopefully prevent that from escalating, hopefully to that point, being able to collect it at a more reasonable, more digestible rate for the homeowner as well.
It's easier to collect $400 than it is to collect $4,000. So Melissa is absolutely correct that, again, that policy will put perspective on your collections. So you're not waiting until they owe $4,000. You're going to go after them at $400. You're going to go after them at $200. Whatever you guys feel like you want to send it over to Magnum, that's what you're going to do. And I want to go back to a point too that, again, if your monthly assessments are, say, $200 a month, and you send it over to us at $400, my cost of collections is only on that $400. So if that homeowner doesn't make a payment for, say, a month, and now their balance is $600, I'm not charging 25% on that $600. I'm charging 25% on the original amount. So keep that in mind. Also keep in mind, once it goes over to the attorney, Magnum is no longer entitled to the 25% because the attorney is now collecting that. That's why I charge that $100 monitoring fee, because I have to monitor that, but that's all Magnum gets. But again, the homeowner is responsible for it.
I mean, this is really just such a fantastic, it's a very transparent program as well. I know it sounds sometimes confusing. It's not intended to be there or that way. As Michael had talked about, we can't put that contingency fee on the homeowner's account until after they've made that first payment. And so that can also oftentimes be very confusing for boards too. Hey, why aren't you letting the homeowner know that that there's this fee? We absolutely are. In that notice that Michael and his team are providing, absolutely. So, and just for those of you that are Heritage partners, as Michael alluded to earlier, absolutely you can find your collection status reports in Vanica. If you are not aware of where you can find those, get with your community manager. Make sure you are having active conversations as a board and with your community manager. Just as Michael talked about, it does no one any good when you are just going to sit and wait it out. We understand that you want to be good neighbors. We understand that some people might have more encumbrances than others, and you're trying to be very respectful of that. We are not trying to put you in a position of a non-neighborly or an adversarial position. This is a fiduciary responsibility to running your business. And what Michael was talking about with Magnum Association Services and our ACT program, this should be a no-brainer for associations, in my opinion. One, it doesn't cost you any money. And two, if anything, it reinforces to your association that there's no selective enforcement, and that you are willing to work with them under the appropriate outlines. Just because you have a collection policy doesn't mean that you can't have a settlement agreement. That doesn't mean that you can't have a hardship program for your association. So if you are thinking collection policies are super rigid, I encourage you to understand the benefit that this is. And truly, if you are an association, specifically an HOA, that maybe doesn't have all of the teeth that a state statute POA or a condo has, I sincerely encourage you to talk. How much does the lawyer charge to collect versus, so Michael,
I can answer that.
I was gonna say, can you speak to what's the cost of an attorney going to court and what's the cost that it would be for a judgment? And I think this is a very good question. So we're talking about 100 extra days of a buffer, right? And
yes.
We're trying to do that so that it prevents the association from having to spend that money up front, because as soon as you get the attorneys involved, it goes money straight out of the association's pocket. So Michael, what do you think fees are?
Yeah, so, okay, on average, I will tell you, because again, I work for a law firm, on an average, a lawsuit could cost anywhere between $1,000 and $1,500 to file a lawsuit. Now, if, and that's just the lawsuit, to file the lawsuit. That doesn't include court costs. That doesn't include the service fee that you're going to have the sheriff and or processor serve. It doesn't include the attorneys have to actually appearing in court, which, yes, we are going back to court now. Unfortunately, during COVID, we were doing a lot of stuff online, but now courts are now requiring, and that's a minimum of 3 hours of the attorney's hourly rate. And again, I'm not trying to say the attorneys aren't necessary, because they are. Magnum only reports the debt to the credit bureaus. But if you want to get a judgment on a homeowner, because here's the good thing about this, judgments are granted good for 7 years. So that's a great, if you want to go to the attorney. So if that homeowner, you file a lawsuit, those judgments are granted for good for 7 years, and you can reaffirm them every 7 years. Now, Magnum reports the debt to the credit bureaus. It stays on there. It doesn't go away in 7 years. It will stay there forever. But so you don't lose that debt. If they want the debt corrected, or if they want that, Magnum to release it from the credit bureaus, they have to pay what Magnum has reported to the credit bureaus. Okay, so that's the good thing. But attorneys, again, not going against attorneys, because I work for one. I don't want to take the, work away from the attorneys. because that is my bread and butter. But where this is for, like, prior to going to the attorneys, prior to the boards taking the expense of having to pay the attorneys up front and then collect it either at through a garnishment or through, bank garnishment or work garnishment or through a foreclosure. Foreclosures, usually, you have the right to foreclose on a property. Doesn't mean the association's going to own it, but it means that somebody will buy it on the courthouse steps and they have to pay off the mortgage. They're basically the ones that will be foreclosing on the homeowner. You're going to get all your money at that foreclosure sale. But again, that's very costly. And I'm not saying I like attorneys because I work for one, but Magnum is no cost, low hanging fruit. That's how I want to say this. And Magnum's success rate, I got to tell you, is about 86%, which is very high. And it's a very good, because some people are worried about their credit. And you guys are probably all watching the news. Inflation, people are going to stop paying their dues. I mean, people will stop paying those dues, just like they did in 2008 and 2009. That's, why you have to start now. And again, as Melissa was saying, we are very transparent. The late letters that receive from Heritage, transparent. We tell them what we're going to do. We say that there's a $96 fee. We say that there's a cost of collections. We say we're going to report to the credit bureaus. The collection policy that's sent out before the late letters are sent out, again, states that your debt is going to be reported to all 3 credit bureaus. Now, if a homeowner doesn't care about their credit, Magnum's not going to be the best thing. However, we don't know that. But again, there's no cost to the association. So guess what? It doesn't cost you anything to go to Magnum. So if they're worried about their credit, not worried about their credit. But again, if they don't contact us, then we know they're not worried about their credit. You need to move that file to the attorney.
So, Michael, we've had some great questions come through as you were giving that excellent explanation, and I'm glad that we had that reference. So thank you to whomever asked that. We have another question. Is a lien only valid for 4 years, or is it valid for forever?
Okay, so that's a really great question. So here's how it works. Liens are filed, hard liens are filed. They are, if you want to use that lien to foreclose on a property, it's only good for 4 years. But liens will always show up on title. So if you have a lien on a property and for 4 years, it just sits there. On 5 years, somebody calls up and says, hey, I want to get a payoff. They run title, they see a lien. That lien is still valid because that lien is recorded. Now, you couldn't use that lien to foreclose on a property because that's what you're using to foreclose on properties. You couldn't use that to foreclose on properties, but the lien is always there. Should you update the lien every 4 years? Yes, I would say that you would do that. But here's the thing. I would rather you go for a lawsuit than update liens, because liens do not get you paid. Liens just secure the debt. But let's just say that you have a lien for 4 years, and on 5th year, you file a lawsuit. One of those years is gone. You can't do anything about that because that third-party collector, which is an attorney's office, can only go after 4 years of the debt in their lawsuit. Okay. Now, there's another question I see about payments.
Yes, I was going to say the hierarchy of payments. This is my favorite question to always answer because it gets really sticky and just about everyone doesn't like the answer. First and foremost, anybody is going to tell you, check your documents first. You must always check your documents first. Yes, there are sometimes very specific language about how the hierarchy of the payments are to be applied once received from a homeowner. So first and foremost, to answer that question. The second question, or the second part to that answer, is if silent, the general practice is it goes to attorney's fees
or collection cost,
late fees, interest, fines, special assessment, and very last, the regular assessment. So,
and I can explain why that is.
Go ahead, Michael.
I will explain why that is. So when you go into court, you want the assessments to be the largest amount. Probably maybe, you know, it all depends on what your dues are. So if your dues are only $200 a year, of course, the attorney fees are going to be more than what your dues are. But you don't want to go into court with 0 assessments, fines, late fees, and interest, and attorney fees. Because that's the judge is going to look at what the debt is, what it accumulates of. And as Melissa was saying, if it is silent in your covenants, it usually goes to, as Melissa said, attorney fees, cost of collections, then late fees, interest, fines, special assessments, and then the assessments are last, which is a good thing. This is what we want.
Awesome. Well, these are all very pertinent questions to this topic. We really do appreciate all of you that have joined us for this conversation about debt collection and assessment collection as well. So for those of you who have not had a chance to partner with this program, I sincerely encourage you to reach out to Michael directly, and we've included his contact information, or please feel free to reach out to your community manager, and we will go ahead and get that ball started on our end to get this executed on your behalf. So as Michael said, this is a really, really great program. We really want all of you to participate if possible, or if there is a need. And again, if this is your first time attending a Heritage University class, thank you again. I hope you learned something new. We all hope you did.
Can I interject here for 1 second?
Please,
could we possibly somehow get the collection policy, a sample of the collection policy on here?
I certainly will. I'll provide.
Possible?
Yeah, I'll provide that to Kate. So all of you that have registered for this evening's class, we'll go ahead and make sure that a sample collection policy is included in our cool goodie bag that we give you tomorrow, along with the recording of today and the material that we're talking about. So thank you very much, Michael. I do appreciate your input on that. And again, for those of you that are interested in any upcoming sessions for Heritage University, our next class is going to be on April 28th, and it's going to be over legal updates and insurance updates. And I don't know a single homeowner, board member, or community manager or volunteer partner out there that could not learn or pick up some valuable information from this class. So we hope to see all of you again in our audience very soon. And thank you again for joining us. Have a wonderful evening.